Santi Cazorla, after an incredible start to the 2016 season, suffered an Achilles tendon tear in a Champions League fixture playing for Arsenal against Ludogorets in a 6-0 victory. The Achilles tendon tear is a terrible injury to have, and it can have lasting effects on a player's athleticism. However, things were made worse when Cazorla started to suffer from a condition called gangrene, which caused him to nearly lose his leg in an amputation. This would have definitely ended his career. Despite this, Cazorla overcame the odds, and after leaving Arsenal in 2017 when his contract ran out, he is now in form and playing for Villarreal, becoming the leading goal-scoring midfielder in the club's history. If you don't know me already, my name is Feyissa, and I'm a medical student from London interested in sports medicine. I make videos on sports injury analysis, so definitely subscribe if you like that kind of content, and also check out our other videos on Peter Cech's head injury and a more Arsenal specific one on Eduardo's broken leg, which he suffered in 2009. If we look at Cazorla's initial injury, which he suffered in 2016, we can see he suffered from an Achilles tendon tear. The word tendon is used to describe a fibrous band which connects muscle to bone. The Achilles tendon specifically attaches from the calcaneus bone, which is in the heel of the foot, to the calf muscle. Typically, the Achilles tendon gets torn in sports such as basketball and football, where there's a lot of sudden acceleration and quick changes of movement. The actual mechanism of injury revolves around players pushing off the ground and lifting off to gain power as they move. It's a common injury to sustain in these sports. One injury I can remember would be to Kevin Durant. He suffered an Achilles tendon tear in the playoffs last year playing for Golden State, and as a result he sat out the whole of this season nursing the injury. There are many different ways to approach this injury in regards to the management and treatment. A conservative approach would involve the use of active rehabilitation with the use of physios paired with steroid injections and anesthetic. In recent times, I have actually read a research paper on this, and the study I read proposed that they should remove the use of steroid medication due to its various side effects and instead should use saline. The study did show that saline was superior to steroids, and due to this, I would kind of predict that there would be a shift away from the use of steroids as a result. This, however, did not work for Cazorla, and as a result he had to be admitted to surgery to help physically repair the tendon. The surgeries were not successful, and as a result various complications arose. Many people do think that Cazorla nearly lost his leg to infection. That is partly right and wrong. Even though there was an infection, the infection was secondary to a condition called gangrene. When carrying out surgery to peripheral limbs in particular, you have to maintain the vascular supply, or in other words the blood supply, to the limbs being operated on. If you don't, a condition called gangrene can occur. This primarily happens in the toes and fingers, however can affect other regions in the body. Gangrene is a serious condition which causes the death of tissues in the body as a result of a loss of blood supply. Typically this is due to an obstruction in the blood supply, which results in kind of like a plug, leading to no blood being able to reach the external peripheries such as the toes or the fingers. This leads to death of cell tissue, which in itself will lead to infection, which is the case in Cazorla's procedure. The necrosis is what the real threat to Cazorla was. Much like any other living matter in the world, such as plants or animals, human flesh, once it dies, microorganisms such as bacteria will feast on it and cause it to degrade. This led to the bacteria, in Cazorla's words, eating up 8 to 10 centimeters of his Achilles tendon. A way to visualize it is a dead animal rotting in the wild and microorganisms slowly eating away at it to only leave a bare carcass. I'm going to show an image here of what gangrene can look like in a particularly bad situation. It's a bit of a trigger warning, it might kind of scare some, and I'm going to show it now. Gangrene in its early phase can present as a loss of sensation in a region due to the loss of blood supply, and redness, soreness, typically other signs of inflammation. However, when it reaches its most serious stage, the flesh will present just as black, a blackened region that has no blood supply. As a result, the cell tissue dies and it just leads to a dead space in your body. This area is prone to infection and can be either a wet or dry region depending on the type of gangrene the person has. In Carzola's case, the reason why there was a real scare in whether he'd be able to return to playing football or not, and whether he needed an actual amputation, was the doctors feared the Achilles tendon was unsalvageable. As a result, infection would spread, fight the antibiotics Carzola would have been on, and kind of prosper in that region and multiply. As a result, the doctors felt they had to amputate the leg in order to stop the progression of infection. This undoubtedly would have been the end of Carzola's career from that point onwards. Thankfully, however, the doctors decided not to amputate Carzola early and try and restore function in that Achilles tendon whilst also fighting the infection. Carzola had countless surgeries. I believe he had around 11, and the point of these would be for the doctors to slowly chip away at the Achilles tendon whilst trying to maintain its structural integrity to maintain function in the future. This ultimately worked, and Carzola can now be seen playing with Villarreal in a midfield role where he's truly returning to form. This is the end of the video now. I hope you found it useful and informative to help give you a better scope on the injury Carzola had and why there was an actual risk to him losing his foot. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also check out other videos in the meantime on Peter Cech's head injury and Eduardo's broken leg, which he suffered in 2009. Apart from that, I'll see you guys next time.
Was melanin, coarse hair, coarse my skin, soy sauce, I'm boisterous. I bun with your babes and feed the oysters. Oysters man think that they're hot like raw mustard. More time is sweeter than sponge cakes and birds custard. Fix your posture. I must have been 16, another cube buster. In co-op they had told me about the custer. Wasting time instead of grinding harder than you can, you muster. Bye bye the rules of stacking notes and making bands of sorts of. I think there's some